President Trump returned to the White House last hour after a busy trip in Asia. He met face-to-face with China's President Xi. It came right after President Trump suggested the U.S. will resume testing nuclear weapons. Our next guest is on board with that and is looking at how China will respond. Joining us now is the senior fellow at the Gladstone Institute, Gordon Chang. Gordon, great to see you. The decision by President Trump to begin, for the first time since George H.W. Bush, nuclear weapon testing. Why do you think the president decided to do this, and how will they respond in China?
Yeah, two things, Will. First of all, got to remember that President Trump in his first term and President Trump in his second term have been trying to get both China and Russia to arms control talks. Now, both Moscow and Beijing have given him the cold shoulder, so what Trump was saying was, look, I can resume testing. So this is maybe an opening gambit in negotiations. But more important, we know that the Chinese for a long time have been conducting subcritical tests, and it may have involved fissile material. So essentially what the Chinese have been doing is testing nuclear devices. And what Trump is saying is, well, if you're going to test, we're going to test. And we absolutely have to do that.
We have to do that because if there is an arms race, you can't sit on the sidelines and say everybody should stop with the race, right? Gordon, I mean, the key here is you don't unilaterally disarm. There's a movie up on Netflix right now called The House of Dynamite that is a really trite movie that I do not recommend, but it's about the nuclear arms race and how it can set off a chain reaction. But the lesson isn't, oh, well, therefore, I'm going to let my enemy have all the nukes, right? And in response to President Trump's strength here, I'm curious still, how do you think they'll respond in China?
Well, they're going to have a propaganda field day by saying President Trump is a reckless warmonger. But that's not the case. I mean, Trump is responding to what Moscow and Beijing have been doing. And I think President Trump needs to say that. When he was asked about this in South Korea, he just said, thank you, and shut off the discussion. What he needed to say was, look, the Chinese are doing this. We've got to respond. And he needs to place the responsibility squarely where it belongs. And that's not on the United States.
And finally, Gordon, we just got back from this meeting between President Trump and President Xi. It seems, whether or not we're talking about tariffs, fentanyl, or whatever it may be that is on the table between the U.S. and China, as a negotiating tool, President Trump does wield the one thing that seems to have some influence on China, and that is strength. Strengthen the ability to negotiate, strengthen the ability to institute fear, strengthen the ability to keep your enemy guessing, whether or not that's economically or militarily.
Yes, and that's exactly what President Trump needs to do, because we know that the Chinese are predatory and they're criminal in trade practices, and they've been waging trade war against us for decades. You know, people say, oh, Trump started the trade war. Well, no, he didn't. He was the first American president to respond to a trade war that has been waged on us for a very long time.
All right. Good to see you. Always great conversation. Thank you so much, Gordon Chang.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.